Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
We are back with our friend, Monica Garnett. Yay! She's our
Hi.
therapist and counselor. And again, it's garnettcounseling.com, Garnett counseling.com. Welcome back today. How are you?
Thank you. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah,
It's,
it's been a little while, right? When was the last time we connected?
I know. It
Was it
was in May,
two,
I
3 weeks
think.
ago? My gosh, yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
then I went on vacation. Great to have you here. So tell us a little bit about what you do.
All right. So I am a licensed therapist in Illinois, California, Virginia, New Jersey, and Nevada. And so we provide individual counseling for family, excuse me, I stuttered over that one, family and couples therapy. And soon to be, we're looking into starting groups. So I'm excited about that. So,
Yay!
yeah.
Excited to have you back. We've had some great conversations in regards to the work you do, the people you're helping. And just to point out, would you mind sharing where your scope of work is, what states, and how it works?
So for counseling, I'm licensed in the 5 states: Illinois, California, Virginia, Nevada, and New Jersey. Uh, Soon to be Texas and Colorado. But anyways, and so we can practice in those states. And we also provide life coaching. And so life coaching is national as well as substance abuse. So we have a few guys on our team who are certified substance abuse specialists. And so they can provide therapy or counseling across country, substance abuse counseling.
Ah, wow. Thank you so much. Well, what did you have in mind for us today?
Well, I was thinking about grief, at first, I'll tell you, I was a little hesitant because when the idea of grief it immediately goes to sadness, you know, but there's so many other emotions. And so it's just not a fun topic to talk about, but I think it's
Yeah,
such a necessary topic to talk about, you know.
yeah,
Um, Yeah, a lot of my clients, they say, well, I don't know how to grieve. I don't know how to get over this, or even I don't know what I'm feeling is the one that I get the most, because the idea with grief is only associated when I've lost someone, especially I lost someone through death. And that loss can come in so many different ways. It doesn't necessarily have to be through death.
hmm,
It could be, excuse me, allergies here are just lovely. But it could be just the loss through of a person or a thing,
hmm,
or even a position like a job,
yeah,
you know, or it could be preparing for a loss, when we have those who are terminally ill, unfortunately, we're left with these feelings of what do we do with this, and sometimes I've come across those who are like, how dare I grieve and the person is still here? Why am I not enjoying this?
true. Yeah.
Why am I not taking in this time? And it just, sometimes it can feel so overwhelming and out of control. What do I do with this again? And so just going over that, because with, like I was saying, it can be so uncomfortable, and then just not knowing what to do with it. So going back to the different types of loss, I already mentioned the loss of a person, or even a loss, and that could be, again, through death,
Hmm.
divorce, separation. That could even be the empty nest syndrome.
Yeah.
You know, I'm so happy that my child is graduating. This is great. You're out of the house. But then once they're out of the house, it's, oh my gosh, I miss them.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
Never enjoying that moment, right? Being
Ex-
present.
exactly. I even think back, this is years ago. I won't say how many years, but I remember when I went off to college and my mother said that, oh yeah, your sisters never went in your room. They never touched your things.
Ah,
Or they were missing me. Whereas when I was there, they were up under me. I didn't understand it at the time, but they were there. They were constantly enjoying my presence.
hmm,
And so it could be a loss in that way as well. Um, Another loss is, again, the anticipatory grief, which is that of, I'm going to lose something, or I'm going to lose someone. So that could even come going back to the job. if when companies shut down, which is happening a lot lately,
Yeah.
um, people are losing their positions and they're provided severance pay, but at the same time, this may be something that I enjoy. This is something that I connect with. This
Yeah.
is something that I use to provide for my family. This is a loss. What
Yeah.
do I do? And then another one is the loss of the unknown,
Yeah.
and I've seen this with some of my clients who were in foster care or who were neglected as children or
Mm-hmm.
even as adults. Um, but the grief of the unknown, grieving that unknown person, or even I've had some families too, or some clients too,
Mm-hmm.
who
That
grieve their parents who have passed on when they were children.
I can only imagine. I lost my mom years ago, and as an adult, that's the hardest thing. But as a child,
Oh my God.
I can't even imagine that type of loss and pain.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's rough. It's rough. And so when I come across those clients or when I meet with the clients who have lost their family members or a parent, sometimes it's a loss of an identity. Who am
mm-hmm.
I? Because that person is not here to fill in that blank. Who am
Yeah,
I?
yeah,
And so just I wanted to talk a little bit more about that. I don't want to go too deep. Part of me wants to go a little bit deeper, but I know that would be another day. Um, but it's how do I deal with this grief? How
mm-hmm.
do I deal with these difficult emotions? I don't want to feel them on a regular
So
basis,
true.
you know. So what do I do? And so um
Hmm.
Dr. Kubler-Ross, she has the five stages
Oh,
of grief, which I know so many people know about. They may not know her name, but they know of five stages of grief, five stages of grief, five stages of grief. And so the idea that I've seen, even when I was in school, when I was learning about it, was it comes in a cycle. They would say the cycle of grief. And so you have denial, anger, bargaining, sadness, and acceptance.
mm-hmm.
And so I remember thinking, oh, well, you just go through the five and then you're done. You get to acceptance and hey, everything is great. And so I've learned, even in my personal experience, it's not so much of a cycle. I read somewhere where someone said that it's more like a ball in a box. And I said, oh my gosh, I
Oh,
love
I
that.
like the way. Yeah, that's a great explanation. Yeah.
Right. Right. Because with the
Yes.
ball in a box,
Yeah.
I may bounce the ball in the box and it may hit the wall of sadness twice. And then it may bounce to acceptance. Then it may
Mm-hmm.
bounce to denial. Then it may bounce to anger, back to acceptance. And so it's wherever the ball bounces. That's what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I know my dad, he passed away 13 years ago. And even to this day, I would love to say that, oh, acceptance is great. I've been on that stage forever now. But sometimes it hits and I'm sad again.
Yeah.
Or it may hit where I'm angry. So it's not to say that I'm not saying that grief is a lifelong sentence, but it's meeting yourself where you are.
Yeah.
And so kind of going back to the different emotions, the first one, denial. I can't believe this happened. I can't believe this person is gone. Or I can't believe that they fired me. How, I'm going to work on Monday.
Yeah.
And so then anger is that emotion, and it can feel like such a loud emotion. I'm frustrated, I'm angry, because this happened. How do I meet that? Sometimes it's allow yourself to be angry, recognize where you are,
Yeah.
you know. And then the bargaining, what if I did this? What if I, or
Uh,
if I had,
if
that
it's
comes,
always that. Mm-hmm.
oh my
If I
gosh,
had
yeah.
that, if I. Mm-hmm.
And it's so helpless because it's just like, if only I could have done something, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's just not in our hands.
Yeah.
And again, it doesn't have to be death. It could just be the loss of some things. Sometimes, I'll be honest, it could be keys.
Don't tell me about losing keys. The stress of me losing keys. No, but what were you gonna? Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Seriously?
yes, yes, exactly. Exactly. Oh,
This is why I now carabiner my keys. My pocketbook's old and gross and it's all shreddy and this makes it shreddier. But I don't care. If my keys are not carabinered, to I go in the car, they're there. I take out. Okay.
I love that. Oh my gosh. Because many a day I have made a
Yep.
different place for my keys. And I go through the stages, even though it's not on a larger scale. But I go through that, especially the anger at myself and the what if. And oh my gosh, if I had done this, and it goes through so many cycles. And then when I
Yeah.
find them, it's
It's
oh,
like,
okay. Yeah. It doesn't necessarily have to be, again, it doesn't have to be people
or the remote control.
or the remote control.
And they,
And I
go ahead, go ahead.
no, what were you gonna say?
No, because someone told me that you could buy these tags to put on your remote or keys. I don't even know what that is. So you could find it. Can you explain that? What type of tag?
You said on the remote control
Yeah,
or
like anything, a tag. You put a tag on the keys. I don't know what type of tag, but maybe it's wireless, hooks up to your phone. I don't know,
I
but you
think
can
so.
locate things.
I'm so not tech savvy.
I love it.
I have no idea.
I love it.
I wanted to try all of that,
I
and they would just
try.
go into my non-tech file or my non-tech box of all my things. But yeah, but even to go even deeper, some things that are sentimental,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Totally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like I'll be honest, even for myself, I have my grandmother's engagement ring for my grandfather was $50. Yeah. And it's just a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of ring. But if I were to
Wow.
lose that, it goes through the cycle, you know. And I've seen people go through the cycle from losing sentimental things.
Think about you go through a house fire. Like I have like I have a lot of stuff that I need to get rid of. It's like a hoarding problem in one room in my house. It's everything I throw and I do because it's the one spot.
Yeah.
And and there's that attachment to things. There's attachment to clothes, to
Mhm.
items, to papers, to my kids' artwork. Like everything they're doing in school, I'm saving, and it's
Yeah.
becoming a problem.
Yeah.
But there's like a grieving process with so much in life to get rid of that. It's not easy. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you said the magic word attachment.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, because that's what's happening. It's the process of removing that attachment.
Mm-hmm.
Not an easy thing. No. And so how do people work through it? How do you do it? One of the things that we talk about in our practice is meeting you where you are.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm sad, recognize, hey, I'm
Hey,
sad.
I'm sad and that's okay.
Yeah. You know, but also know how long to sit in that sadness. It's
True.
not to say, oh,
Hey.
I can't sit in the sadness, but finding the balance. So when sadness comes, I like to use the analogy of if feelings come to the table,
Mm,
what do I say? Do I say sit down? No, I
yeah.
don't. I just say, okay, I see you standing there, sadness. Okay, now you can go.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted to sit down. You're here for this reason. Now you can go. But if they sit down at my table, then I'm sitting with them. And the longer they sit, the longer I sit. And that's not what I want.
Exactly. Ah,
Yeah.
I know.
And so then with sadness, meeting myself where, like I said, meeting yourself where you are.
Mm-hmm.
I recently had a passing of someone really close to me.
Yeah.
And I just let people know, hey, I may rain on you sometimes I may not. It is what it is. And they just said, okay, Monica, that's fine. I said,
Mm,
okay. I'm working through my emotions right now. I'm working
yeah.
through the process.
Okay.
And so when I'm angry, recognize it. I'm mad. I'm mad because this is not here. I'm mad because this person is not here. I'm mad because how dare he ask me for a divorce?
Yeah.
I'm mad because how dare she say that I'm not fit for this job?
Yeah.
I've lost these things. I've lost these people. I'm mad. Meet myself where I am. Even with the bargaining, what if me, myself with the facts? Yeah, well, you know what? If I could have done dot, 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 what would have happened? What are the facts?
Yeah.
And then even with acceptance, the word acceptance brings on, oh, I'm happy now. I'm great now. Not necessarily so. I've just accepted the facts.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm able to receive the information and move the way I need to move, or the way I would like to move.
Mm.
What are you thinking?
I know. Want to move. I want to move. There's so much I want to do in life, and you have this calm about you. Working on getting my own calm, but it's not easy. I just love. Okay, when it comes to
Mhm.
grief, loss, anything in life, I think COVID is the perfect example
Yes.
because we were not alone. It was everyone. We were all affected for once, right? Because you feel like if you lose, it's not. No, we all, everybody can empathize, can relate, can sympathize. Like that's, and some people never experience grief yet, in a sense, right? But if you can go think back to COVID, it's you were part of something that was a lot of people grieving, and it just, yeah. So I'm sorry, I'm just on a tangent as always, but I was thinking it'll get better. It will. People say time heals. It does. You don't want to hear that when you lose someone, but it will. Yes.
It will. Yeah. But you are so on it. That's actually
Mm-hmm.
why I was thinking about talking about this,
Yeah.
because we had to go through the process collectively, not even as a nation, but as a world.
Yeah.
And it was pretty scary. Still is when you think about it. It doesn't pack the punch that it did before, but for those who have lost people,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and being even angry at the disease itself.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that with COVID, with cancer. Like I tell you, I said, gosh, if cancer was a person, oh gosh, the damage I would do to it. Shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where the anger, yeah. And so what do you do with this? Again, meeting yourself where you are. Sometimes it's not that easy. Sometimes it's not. And so finding out what does help you. For some people, it's talking to others. I talk to some people about, not just even in grief, but in just finding things to do. And I hit upon it before, pockets of peace. What are your pockets of peace in this moment? And sometimes you have to be purposeful in finding them. And they don't have to be big. My personal trainer may be, well, he's mad at me anyways, because I have to go. But anyways, he might be mad at me for saying this. But sometimes the pockets of peace is not at the gym.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit more work for me to put my shoes on and go out the door and go to the gym. So where can I meet myself here? If I can just open my door and let the sunshine and feel a little bit better, then hey, that's a pocket. When it's a little bit deeper, there are some techniques like called the empty chair, where you're
Mm-hmm.
actually talking to that person. It's the empty chair that you put up, and that's to in place of the person who you've lost. And so you talk to that person, you tell them what you want them to know.
Mm-hmm.
And the same idea is there's also the letter writing. Some may write letters, and then at the end they burn the letter, they throw the letter away, they rip it up, whichever way. Some to signify that it's going up to that person, and some just to get out what they need to get out. But just as long as you're not stuffing, let's not stuff these feelings.
It's so true.
Yeah. It's amazing. I remember being a little kid and thinking, oh, if I hold this feeling in, then that means I'm strong. And
All
now
done
I
it.
call it being a human garbage can.
We've all done it. Yep.
Yeah, keep putting things inside, and you keep
Mm-hmm.
stuffing it and stuffing. What happens is going to overflow, and it may not smell that well.
No, Not at all. Good
Yeah.
point.
And so not being that person. But yeah, grief is it's definitely a process to work through. Like you said, I love that word attachment because that's what it is,
Hmm.
you know. And when you think about attaching yourself, even if I put my fingers together and symbolize attachment and pull them apart, there's still a process that goes with that. Yeah. What are you thinking?
I'm sorry, but I'm normal. I'm just thinking my attachment issues with stuff in my house that I need to let go because it is grieving. Even children's clothes and little memories and toys. Well, he wore that. I'm like having a lot of trouble with that personally right now. So, and
Yeah.
it's not as serious as grief when losing someone. But again, like you mentioned, grief comes in all forms. So
But you think what's attached to those things?
the memories, the
Yeah.
sentimental, but can I tell you an idea?
Sure.
Um, and at this rate, it's so different nowadays, but take pictures of everything. I could always look back at a picture. Now I have
Yeah.
the cloud. Not that I'm going to print, if I print the pictures, then I'm going to have less physical space, but take a picture. I
Take a
can let it
picture.
go that way.
Absolutely.
I really don't
Absolutely.
need it. I need the idea and memory of it, but I feel secure when I'm seeing it or holding it. But now I could look at it and still remember it. So that's trying to.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
And but you think about that's how you can remember the other people, even
Yeah,
people who have passed on. You have the pictures to remind you of those good times.
perfect segue. Yes, it's true. And if you don't, word of advice, get those pictures. Every time I have my kids, okay, see my dad, I may be crazy. He's only 75, but after my mom passed, he needed a heart transplant. He denied
Mhm.
3 of them. He's still alive. My sister lives with him, but he's getting older. So every time we stop at the house, I'm like, boys, might get a picture of Grampy. This could be, and I'm so on. I'm like, this could be his last. They're like, you have me in the grave. I said, just in case, but it'll be a memory. We could put, we're very
Absolutely.
open about death. Like, just in case we can have this picture at the funeral. But I want to have, hopefully they might be like, 20 by the time he dies, or maybe 30, you never know. But like, I want to have these memories. So I always take pictures.
Don't feel bad. Don't
Mhm.
feel bad.
Yeah.
I in my spare time, I'm big into genealogy. So I've been working my family tree for many years. And my grandmother, she was 100 when she passed.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would take pictures of things and take pictures of the pictures. And then one time I was sitting with her, my uncle said, record her, record her. And I knew if I had said, Grandma, can I record you? She
Yeah.
was saying no. So I pulled out the phone. You
I
hear the
love it.
TV, you hear the Price is Right in the background. But I started recording, you know. And so even with pictures, that's the one thing that's great about cell phones. You can record as well,
Mm-hmm.
you know, record what they sound like, what they say.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. Because the way things are is so the attachment to things and people, it changes.
Sure does.
It changes. And so sometimes I think, well, even with the meeting yourself where you are right in the moment of the shift,
Mm-hmm.
I'll call it that. Why not meet yourself in the moment in every moment? I think that's why when you were saying you have such a calmness, yeah, it's a choice.
But I know you don't now, calm. You don't like sitting like
I
me.
don't like no. Yeah, I'll admit though,
I,
sometimes an emotion will catch me off guard.
all
Like
right.
yesterday was I had a nice little funk going on. I said, what is going on? What's going on? And I told my friend, I said, I need to get up. And that's all I needed to do.
Love it.
Yeah.
You need that. Well, Monica, how do we reach out to you? How can we connect? Tell us that, please.
Sure. My website is garnettcounseling.com, and that's GarnettCounseling.com. And or call me at 888-427-6006 or Facebook me. Or I don't even think that's a term. Gosh, I just aged myself.
Oh, so Facebook me, message me on Facebook. I got what you mean, girl. Go for it.
Thank you.
I got it.
I'm on Facebook at Garnett Counseling Services, and then Instagram at Garnett_counseling.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
Thank you so much, sweetheart. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank
And all of our
you.
listeners, stay tuned. More of the show is on the way.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.